So I was just doing a podcast about my days at Extreme Associates, and as soon as I finished, I got a text from a friend letting me know that Supreme, who was XPW's Deathmatch champion, passed away this morning. So I figured I might as well do a podcast about Supreme. Something quick. Like I barely knew the man. I had only a few dealings with him. I saw him at a bunch of events, but I'll just share a couple of things that I experienced with him. The way I got into the adult industry is because I went to an XPW event. It was called King of the Deathmatch tournament. It was their first one, and I think Supreme won the whole thing. You know, he was called the human horror film. He came out to this Metallica song. He was short, stocky, covered in tattoos. And bled. He loved doing death matches. He was the king of the death match in California by far. He was a legend. He was a very nice guy when you meet him. Before the matches, after the matches, always great with the fans, taking pictures with them. I have so many pictures from every event. The one person I wanted to take a picture with was always Supreme because he was just fucking cool, you know. And the couple times I had dealings with him were had something to do with this other promotion called LXW. It was like Latin Extreme Wrestling. It was going to be based out of the East Coast. And it had a lot of the XPW guys in it. Angel was in it. Angel was a wrestler that my brother and I followed and shot a documentary on. We never finished it, but we followed him for like a bunch of years. And we actually followed him to New York for this LXW event. So we followed him backstage everywhere. And he had a match with Supreme, a death match. And so we got like ringside footage. We got footage backstage where Supreme is pulling out thumbtacks and staples out of his head because Angel used a staple gun on Supreme's head. Always so polite. We got this great, amazing footage of him shaking from the pain, but he was so excited about how the match went. And yeah, every show I've seen, and I think at some point you probably recognize me because every time I would come up to him and take a picture, like, hey, what's up? And the interesting thing is I was actually pulling pictures from a Roadside Killer Movies this morning and found a picture of me and him at Weekend of Horrors. And it was like, hey, there's Supreme, which is very interesting. And the person that texted me just now about Supreme is actually my filmmaking partner from Roadside Killer. And he's like, hey, you always talked about Supreme, and did you hear about this? So I had to go on Facebook, and I saw people like Kevin posting about it and a few other people, and Joey, who was his nephew. It's sad. He was young. He was 49 years old. Look, I'm 50. I almost died at 49. You know, in October I almost lost my leg and almost died. So once we start getting to this age and we're a little bit heavier and we work too much and we put our bodies through stress, things happen. I don't know what happened. It's sad. It's beyond unfortunate because he's a family man. The one story I have with him that most people don't know because it was just me and him, and I got to see his love for what he does. You know, when people watch these guys do death matches, they just assume these guys are insane or they're doing it for the money or whatever the reasoning is. I got a chance to shoot a promo with Supreme for LXW. We drove down to Southgate, and this was years, my goodness, this was about 18, 19 years ago maybe, something like that. I think that's when LXW was around. They were only around for a couple of shows, and they wanted me to shoot a promo with Supreme. He was making his comeback for a death match with Angel, and he needed to promote this match and pump this match up. So the plan was we're going to walk through an alley, and he was going to talk to the camera. And man, you know, back then, like, you don't have like LED lights or anything like that. You're just trying to shoot what you can with with the no money that you have. So I'm like, hey, if we walk here, can you stop right here under this light? Because we're shooting at night in the alleys, and in Southgate. I think it was Southgate. And so him and I planned this out, and his whole thing was he was going to take this bottle and break it over his head. And he was going to break this bottle over his head, and then he was going to take the edge of the bottle and cut himself and just finish the whole promo. Very energetic, covered in blood, and I thought it was going to be super cool visually looking because he's going to be top lit with this street lamp in the alley and with brick walls everywhere and things like that. So we planned this out, and he starts the promo, and I'm walking with him, walking backwards. He's walking towards me, and then he gets this bottle, and he hits himself in the head with a boom, and you just hear like a thump, a boop, but it doesn't break. And he's like, oh. Tries again. Can't do it, right? Oh, he's like, fuck. So he takes the bottle and smashes it, and takes a sharp edge and just cuts his forehead open with this glass. I've shot death matches ringside, but never been like that close where he's like a foot away from me, and I was just like, whoa. And all the adrenaline rush he had from like smacking himself in the head with the bottle, he obviously like cut himself pretty deep, or just long enough cut to like really cause a lot of bleeding. So he's doing this promo, and he's drenched in blood, and I'm just like right there on his face, getting a close up, moving back a little bit, like the promo guys. I'm trying to like mimic all these great promo camera guys, and he's just talking to the camera, and at one point he realizes how badly he's bleeding, and shit you not, he puts his hands under his chin and cups the hands till the hands are filled with blood, and then he drinks it. It was like right now, I just remember this happening, and it kind of turned my stomach, but visually I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Talk about promoting a match. Like, who would want to wrestle this guy in a death match after he cuts himself open and drinks his own blood? He is the human horror film, It was insane. It was really cool. And then when we were done, he straight up says to me, goes, man, I really miss doing this stuff. So he had this love and passion for doing death matches, for entertaining people. He was so shy. Like the few times I met him, he wasn't like boisterous and like outgoing. He was just very into himself and very polite and kind of soft spoken, and then but when he did these matches, holy shit, first time I've ever seen anything enter a wrestler in a death match was with him, where he fell off a 12-foot ladder out of the ring through a table with barbed wire and light tubes, and there was glass stuck in his forearm, and of course he's such a showman, the camera's right there, he pulls it out right on camera. He makes sure the camera sees it and pulls it out. It's a show, and he was an amazing showman. It's so unfortunate to hear that, because first of all, he's a dad and a human being and a husband and all these things. And for wrestling fans who grew up watching him or loved the deathmatch style of wrestling, he is a legend. I mean, he mostly fought on the West Coast and in Mexico, but he's a fucking legend. And to hear that happen today, I'm sure there's so many people, that are West Coast wrestling fans that are shocked but also saddened, because he was a staple of XPW and East and West Coast hardcore wrestling scene. I had to do this podcast and share that one story. I really didn't know him well, except for the times I met him after shows, at events, and my one promo I shot with him, which was so cool and insane, and just to like have that interaction with someone that I watched, and I got to collaborate with him and create. I'm telling a story with my camera work, and we're positioning him for lighting, and he's telling the story physically to the world, and promoting this match, and the ultimate promoter, the ultimate showman, the ultimate entertainer, and for everything I've ever heard, the ultimate human being. So it's sad. I wanted to share the story, and hopefully, people get a little bit of glimpse in what he is, and share their stories about him and his matches. And so he lives on. He's a legend. He's a legend in my eyes. He's a legend in a lot of indie wrestling fans' eyes, and especially hardcore world of wrestling fans. Yeah. Rest in peace, sir, and thank you for all the amazing memories.